Here we go, baby. Crazzyy Chaos, we're here. Look at who's here, baby. Fucking yeah. Hell yeah, dude. John's here. John the Father Grady. Vito Baby Mouth Calise. Is it Calise or Calise?
It's Calise.
Calise. Michael Shane Cannon. And then Rob Iler.
Thanks, bro.
So how do people must just be like, is it Iler? Is it IIR?
You got a teleprompter over there? You do an imaginary teleprompter work?
Yeah.
That's dope, dude.
Thank you, dude.
I like that.
I
Holy
appreciate
shit.
Dude,
You made me believe you had a teleprompter
Here's
over
the
there.
thing, man, is I'm just talented.
Yeah.
Just pretend there's a full production.
Yeah, you're like, oh, today our guest is, but there's nothing over there. Wow, that was dope, dude.
Robbie, coming from a hotel, dude, it took him 90 minutes to get here.
That was
It
the
took go 6 miles.
Yeah, I felt like I was going to take a loan out. Like I haven't done a drive like this since when I was like 15. I needed money.
Dude, I know we're deep in Queens right now. This is where the Cribola is at the moment.
You just pot out of here or you live here?
No, I live here.
Really?
I live here, bro.
Wow.
It's
okay.
actually-
That's how wealthy Austin is right now. This is a house in Queens. He's like, is this a pod house?
Is this a content spot?
You're,
No, my
you're
entire
so
family-
right, dude. You're so right. Yeah.
My children are upstairs. And no, but this neighborhood, so this is like old school Queens. It's actually geographically not that far from the city if you're taking the train. If you're driving,
Well, as the crow flies.
Yes.
Yeah, as the
Yes.
crow flies, this is right next to the city.
This is- yeah.
when you have to use transportation. Yeah,
But it has become like either, I kind of feel like now with the way that New York City, just the economy is here, either you live in Manhattan, either you should live in Manhattan, I can understand that, or like where I'm living right now in one of the outer boroughs, there's really no point for this. I should have just went an hour further and gotten a house twice as big. There's either you're in the city 2 feet in. What's the point of me being 30 minutes away on the subway or 90 minutes by the car? Just go move up to Connecticut.
You're fucking
100%.
out of your mind.
Oh, see, I think
I'm selling it
100%.
From Staten Island.
You just got the most reverse. I was like dead on. He was like, "Are you insane?" Yeah, no, I was fully on board with that.
Yeah, dude.
you
Like,
got
I
me.
might as well not even be anywhere remotely close to the city if you're not 2 feet in it.
Yeah.
The guy that moved because there wasn't a fucking bagel store.
Yeah.
A 5-minute walk from
Here's
him.
what
Oh,
happened.
but you could go. You go along. There's places with great bagel stores outside of the city. You just can't be in like Texas. Like you're
Right.
not gonna find a good bagel in Texas, but like Connecticut, you're
He
gonna
was in
find good
Staten
bagels.
Island.
Yeah.
I was living in Staten Island.
Yeah.
You couldn't find a good bagel in Staten Island.
I just couldn't walk to it.
And he
Also
could walk
complained
there.
about the distance away from the
And
city.
then
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
by the way, I moved here to be like, feels like a suburb here, and then I can walk to everything. And then I realized that the bagel store that I actually like, I have to drive to.
Well, it's funny that podcasters do ads for Postmates because I think like podcasters who are doing well keep Postmates alive.
Yeah.
Because they Postmate, like when you go to a podcast, they're like, yeah, we just Postmated a coffee. Do you want anything? I'm like, Jesus Christ, it's like a $30 coffee. dude." Yeah.
I mean, some people say Postmates. I say Grubhub. Use promo code Chaos.
Of
But
course.
Anyway.
Yes, Grubhub.
So,
Can you dump that?
Tell
the teleprompter guy.
Just put Grubhub over his face.
Yeah.
And
Well, you guys all work for the same guy, so you're doing the same reads at this point, right?
oh yeah. Shout out YMH.
But you're doing better than me. I don't have Grubhub.
Dude, I actually think we lost it. Now we got these fucking kosher snacks. It's made with fish gelatin instead of horse hooves. Supposedly that's the truth.
Fish gelatin.
Dude, but I can't believe we lost another good guy to Austin though. Dude, you should be with us here.
And it wasn't anything except for winters. I did 2 winters where I didn't experience
You had enough snow
cold.
in your life.
I did 2 winters where I was in warm weather and then came back here for cold, and my body was like, nope,
Right.
like you're not doing this to us.
Right. I mean, you're cold right now. You're putting your hands in your pocket. It's August.
Yeah. Well, I was in my t-shirt the whole. I put my seatbelt on at minute 1 of the 80-minute ride, and then I was like, I don't want to take my seatbelt off to put the hoodie on.
Right.
So just for 79 minutes, I was like, I should probably take
How long could this
the
ride be?
seatbelt off. Yeah, we're almost right there.
So I'll explain this to you, but I'll say this first. So put his seatbelt on in the first minute. He's a Robert. But I'll explain it to you. You don't know what. So on this podcast, our term for we call, or if, something like, you know what I mean? Like someone's just be like, okay, we call it a Robert because so it has nothing to do with you. It's because a guy, this guy. Yeah, we'll just show you the clip again.
We're not going to play the clip, but I'll just.
We're not going to play the clip because we'll get demonetized, but just on the last name right there, boom, you see it. So, so
Pronounce
now
how it's spelled.
us,
Yeah.
our fans, will kind of chime in with like, "That's you're being a Robert. A seatbelt on, that's a Robert." So that's what we're saying. Of course, we love our communities here, but we just seatbelt on in the back, 1 minute in is a bit of a Robert thing, but I would do it too.
But I also want to say that I'd say 99% of my moves in life are based on minimizing communication with strangers. So
Nice.
I don't want him to turn around and go, "Can you put your seatbelt on?" Because then I go, "Fuck you," and I hate him for 80 minutes. You know what I mean? I want to dead that. I want it in. I want everything. I don't want him to have to talk to me because I'll hate him.
Will you tell somebody to stop talking to you?
I can't do it.
Me
I
neither.
want to do it so, dude. So now you can put on. I mean, do you have a ride share fucking thing, or can I say Uber?
Say Uber. Yeah.
Okay. So on Uber, you can say like, "Don't talk to me." You know, like there's a thing for a silent option. But before that, my friend who was the nicest kid I had ever met in my life, his name on Uber, where it's like, "Oh, your name is Rob," it was "Don't talk to me." And I was like, that is the fucking most.
idea.
And the craziest thing is, he was the nicest kid we knew growing up. Like, he was a fucking sweetheart, where most of my friends were just degenerate pieces of shit. He was like the nice kid who went, and he was like, "Yeah, I just can't."
He just doesn't want to deal with the drivers.
He went to Chicago for a week, and he was like, after that, he was like, I couldn't, because
Couldn't deal with
he
that.
changed it there, and then he was like, why not just keep it in New York? Because he was like, they want to talk to you, like they like stop at stop signs, and they like turn around and are like, so what do you see yourself in the next 10 years?
It's something
Yeah.
with the face. I get that too, man, where literally the moment I sit in the back of an Uber, they start telling me about how the vaccine is the mark of the beast.
Yeah.
The earth is flat. And I'm like, all right,
Even
cool.
here in the city?
Everywhere I go.
Wow.
I just have download me with your worst thoughts.
Do you
Wow.
get recognized by Uber drivers and they try to talk Sopranos with you?
Very rarely. It's very rarely happened. I've had it a few times, and I'm like, fuck, now I got to tip like 4 times what I was going to tip.
Always, that's the rule.
Yeah,
you got to
so
go. If
whack.
you get recognized at all, in any public setting when there's money involved, that is the number. 4 times is what I've been told by everyone. That's the number you got to give.
Yeah.
So, dude, if you got a bill for fucking $200, you got to give.
Yeah, you're tipping to hundo. You're tipping
40%. Yep.
Yeah.
What is he?
You were waiting for me for
He
the
went to
math. I was like,
went to Geneseo, which is the Harvard of upstate New York.
That's right.
The only thing I'm decent at is math. Everything else I am full. Like you do the history podcast. I try listening. I'm like, I'm just too stupid for even this.
I know, like I love history so much, and I'm like, why is this only getting 10,000 views? And then finally my family was like, because it's boring and we all hate history, no matter how fucking fun you think you make it. I'm
I
like,
think if you pepper it in, it's okay. But when you're like, hey, come listen to history.
Yeah,
like most people are like, I'm sitting in the back of an Uber with somebody I hate. I want to like.
I don't wanna do that.
I don't want lessons.
I know, dude. I'm reading this book right now about it. It's crazy. It's a book. It's called "The British Are Coming," and it's about. It's also a good porn title.
Yeah.
It's about like a day-by-day history of only specifically the first 2 years of the Revolutionary War. So it's day by day, like the mundane days of like April 18th, 1775. And I'm just sitting there on that couch reading it. And like I asked my girl to read like 1 page of it. And she was like, I don't understand. Like she was like, literally, you're reading about like this guy like going into the fields and like tending to his crop. I'm like, yeah, but he's going to go on and fight in the Revolutionary War in like 3 months from now, which is like 150 pages from now. Because to me, I'm like, I think it's cool to like teleport back and, listen to the, like talk about these guys day to day, but everyone else thinks I'm stupid.
How long have you been reading that book?
That book, The British Are Coming, I swear to God, I'm going to be honest with you, it's pretty boring. It's taken me, I've been reading that book over the course of 2 years, and I've gone through about 3 months in
Because
actual
when I
history.
started with you a year ago, you were reading that book.
Okay, but here's the caveat, though. Here's the only thing I want to defend myself is I would have kept reading it, but I moved twice since you met me, and the books keep getting all discombobulated in the bookcase. So that's another reason why.
So this is the third house.
This
the one we're in
dude,
now.
and this isn't even my house. We're renting this house. We bought a house 4 blocks away that we're moving into in 2 months. So
And tell them how many podcast studios you've moved.
And I've also moved to about 3 or 4. I think it's at 4.
You had Booster,
Yeah.
Slam, and now here, and then we're going to the next.
And then we're
place,
going to
so
the 4th podcast studio.
Which is not the next house.
That is the next house. No, the next house. I have told myself over this last year, I have learned valuable lessons.
Don't say it's your forever home. I'll walk out. I hate when people say that.
No,
please.
not my forever home. But I will not move. I will not move for 5 years. You could open up a crack den next to me, I refuse to move because I have been living like, out of bags and had my family uprooted because I'm like, this will be better. I get in a house, I'm like, no, you know what? I could do better for you. And then I keep moving them. And then finally, even my family was like, we can't do this anymore. I'm tired of living out of boxes. Pick a fucking house. So the one that
This sounds like what they say, when you try and make everyone happy, you make no one happy.
You make no one happy. Bill Cosby said that. Bill Cosby said, the legend. Bill Cosby said, I don't know the secret to success, but I know the secret to failure is trying to please everyone.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a good night's sleep.
Yes. Is that Jazz? Yes. Jazz, we're talking.
Hello.
Robert.
How are you?
Good, I was talking about how we're not moving again for 5 years.
5 years?
Yes.
You can move in 5 years. You can move right now. I'm never moving again.
5 years is a short amount of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's a long time for him. He has to move every 2 years.
Chaos. It's chaos.
But I promise you, I've promised
You're
you,
on your own, buddy.
I've promised you and the kids. That's good when your girlfriend calls you buddy. That's how you know things are going well.
Did you want me?
I think.
Sorry, your arm's like getting tired.
I think Jazz. I've told Rob I'm committed to 5 years at the new house.
Were you just shooting a Kanye West video? Where'd you just come from?
Jim.
Well, here's the
There's a
thing.
human out there.
And I have a video of it. I got a text from Jazz that she's like, we need she's mad at me about something, and then I go, okay, let me
What
go
else
talk.
is new?
What else is new? So then we had a break in podcasts, right? We had a little break. Our previous guest, we had about 20 minutes, and I said, okay, Jazz, let me go talk to Jasmine. Let me come. Let me just take some time, talk to her about this issue. We'll get through it, and then I go out and I look in. We have a garage in the gym, and she was hitting
A gym in the garage.
a gym in the garage. Sorry, she was hitting. You just make me so nervous. You're so beautiful. and so she was hitting a tire with a sledgehammer, like 900 times a minute. And I was like, maybe now's not a good time to talk to her because I was like, she's imagining my head. I have video of you hitting this tire, which is at patreon.com/Chrissy Comedy. And you looked angry, but did you get it out? And are you less mad at me now after you got a good workout out? Because you're
No.
saying he's a good man.
You are a good man, but whatever. I don't want to talk about it right now. I'm pissed
Oh,
off.
are we still going to dinner tonight with the fam? Did you make the
Yeah,
res?
you're paying.
Right. Well, duh. But we're still
For the
on-
food and the 4 houses.
Yes. But we're still on for
The
dinner.
sushi.
We're still on for dinner. Let me just ask you this, and I'll let you go. Let me just ask you this. I understand you're upset with me
Chris,
right
I'm
now.
not in
I'm
the
not
mood
going to
right
reveal
now.
anything on the pod. I know it's personal. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I know that, but I'm saying I just want to know.
The first time ever, he's not revealing.
I'm not going to
something.
reveal anything on the pod, and I won't even reveal it. I won't even reveal it at the Patreon. And so I just want to know. You're mad at me right now. It's about what? What number? 10 is the worst. 1 is you're not mad at me. What would you? Are you about a 5 or 6?
We're at the level of like I don't care. Like the people were saying that I don't care.
Okay, so I'm gonna give
Avoid
you.
it.
Like you're
I'm
there
gonna give
right
you
now.
indifference. I'm gonna give that about a 7. I'm gonna give that about a 7 out of 10. Can I get you down to a 5?
No, you're making me more angry right now.
Okay. Sorry.
Because you're hungry after the gym, right?
Hey, we have kosher snacks if you want. You want a
Did you see his
kosher
gift?
fruit roll?
He got a gift on the last podcast.
Oh yes, I did.
Oh, what is it?
You really want to see it? Go give it to
You're
a
gonna
bit.
make me more mad?
It's not going to make you more mad, but and I will say that we did do just because I knew Dad would like it. We switched hats, but we could take that part out.
Women love it. I'll tell you, women
love this, but it's actually pretty.
Put it on my father's urn.
It's pretty sick hat.
Seriously.
No. I didn't. It's a pretty sick hat. It's actually signed by Donald Trump.
This is like the new Everybody Loves Raymond.
You put that on my father.
I didn't. And
It's funny, dude, because I saw her see the hat and totally get it, but still be pissed.
Yeah. But
Who was the guest? Who
was a
gave you
big
the
Trump.
hat?
Her dad's a big Donald Trump supporter before he passed. We had Elizabeth Pipko on. She's the spokesperson for the GOP.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
Coming soon, though.
Oh yeah, coming soon.
It's coming soon.
Coming soon, or maybe it came already, or is it coming soon?
I think he's gonna come. I think he's gonna be coming soon.
It's coming soon.
Like the British.
Yes,
Yeah.
like the British are coming. So she's but that is so. It's funny you say that everybody loves Everybody Loves Raymond, because that's, it's just a sitcom I'm trying to do. Let me ask you a question. This is actually, the question that we were going to have for Elizabeth is a perfect question for Robert, because he could find himself in this position, or maybe he has. Here's the truth, Mike. Life can be crazy sometimes. It can be crazy sometimes. And one person's negligence can result in another settlement, just like you when you got into that car accident.
That's right.
The car flipped over in Batavia, Illinois. You almost died. Who was the first people? What two words popped into your head immediately?
Morgan and Morgan.
Yep. And if you're going to count N as a third word, you're an asshole. If you're in an accident, not calling a lawyer means you could be leaving money on the table. When you're seriously hurt, your injury could be worth millions. If you're ever injured, do me a favor, just go at least check out Morgan & Morgan, okay? I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just telling you what would be best for you is if you just go check out Morgan & Morgan. They have over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. That's a lot of abogados.
With over $20 billion recovered for over 500,000 clients, Morgan & Morgan has a proven track record of fighting to get you full and fair compensation.
They really, really do, man. And I got to be honest with you, it's really just simple to use, okay? I mean, being a professional bull rider is hard.
Right.
Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy.
You know what? Looking your 5-year-old son in the eyes and telling him nothing is going to change once his baby brother is born is hard.
Yes.
But submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan, that's easy.
That's easy. Yeah, taking the bus to go to the gym is hard. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy.
Having child teeth inside your adult mouth is hard. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy.
Trying to date a woman that actually speaks English is hard. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy.
Having the face of a quarterback and the body of all of his linemen is hard. Yeah. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy.
Trying to just do what you've always dreamt of doing and then not disappointing your family at every single turn is hard. Submitting an injury claim with Morgan & Morgan is easy. Okay, so if you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/chaos or dial #law. That's #529 from your cell phone. That's FOR thepeople.com/chaos or #law, LAW, #529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement. Here's the thing. Okay, let me ask you this. And again, you may have already been approached by this. Would you ever consider doing Dancing with the Stars?
Oh, they wanted me like very early on. I said no. And you know what was so funny?
Okay.
The person who came to me said it like Scorsese was knocking. Like they sat me down and were like, "Are you ready for this, brother?" And I was like, "Yeah, what?" And he's like, "Have I got the opportunity for you?" He's like, "I spoke just, and now like this, you know," and like the whole thing. And I was like, "Oh my God, what is?" Because I was like, "I'm done acting, but what? This might be something so." And he was like, "They want you for Dancing with the Stars season 3." And I was like, "What?" Like I never spoke to that person again.
Yeah, you were like, "I'm not doing
And
it."
I was like, "You fucking douche." Yeah, never.
Because I got asked to do it. So you would say it's a resounding no.
Well, it's different. I was just. It depends what you want to do in your career. It depends what you want to do. Like
I want to dance.
Oh, that's like, look, she looked like the Kanye video.
She'd be good. She'd be good if she was like. Imagine I would do it if they would do like, hey, we're gonna do like a
Partners.
couples partner, like
Yeah,
a threesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
But she looked like that video where it's like, your love is fade.
Yeah.
Tiana Taylor.
Yeah. She was giving full Tiana Taylor there.
Yeah.
Even the pause on the step, like
Yeah.
1 foot down.
And that was genuine anger, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I can,
Yeah, we'll talk about it because I know you dealt with Puerto Ricans in the show.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you dealt with them. Oh, you dealt with them in real life.
I grew up in New York City. I went to public school.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just what it is. But so you would suggest, you would say, you didn't want to do it back then. Why? What was the reason?
Because I was 25 and not gay.
Got it.
You know, and I grew
What
up.
if you were 39 and maybe gay?
Right, that's the thing.
Circling the drain.
Yeah, and also like, I don't know. Now it's like what people want to do in their career. It's almost like now it doesn't fucking matter what you do. Like you could make anything cool. I feel like I don't think there's anything where it's like that's bad for your career. Like that used to be a thing.
That used to be a sellout thing, or like, it could be considered like a weird opportunity where you're like leveraging something. But now, like you said, you could completely curate it to working for you.
Because here's the thing, right? Like I don't want to try and sound like I know anything about comedy, but like when you go to the Comedy Cellar, it's like, what are the chances you're going to be the funniest guy there? 50-50, maybe something.
Right.
Dancing with the Stars, bro.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, that guy is so funny. You're gonna have all these people who are just like,
I'm gonna take it just for that, and then I show up season 1, show up day 1, I meet the other contestants.
Sebastian Maniscalco.
Yeah, Louis C.K.'s on, like a legend of comedy, and I'm like, here we go.
Right, yeah.
So because I'm on the fence about it, and I just because immediately I was like, no, I don't want to do it because like I don't know how to dance. I want to be taken seriously as a comedian, even though I'm doing fucking comedy, so none of this is serious. But then as I'm thinking about, as time's going on, I'm like, I could have so much fun with this on the podcast. Everything you do, everything I think about in my career, I'm like, how does this help my pod?
Content,
how does this
baby.
help me doing shit at home? So I'm
Yeah.
like, does that help or not? And maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
I think it's one of those things where like I think the right decision is whatever you decide. Like I
Right.
think you're lucky in the, like I think it's a great offer if you want to do it or not. I was just again like this is 15 years ago or however I don't even know what year it was, but like things were different then. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of being like, hey, you want to go from Sopranos to dancing? It's like get the fuck
It
out of
made
here.
you
Do I
look
wanna
less than.
dance?
It made you-
Now people dance on TikTok for free.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah.
was fucking dancing when I was 25.
Well, somebody when they were like pitching to me, they were like, I was honest. I was like, look, I feel like could this be bad? Like for my career, whatever, blah blah blah. And they were like, Kim Kardashian did it. They were like people who are like very, very, very high up on this tone. It's a different thing now. People just do it.
yeah, you could be the next Kim Kardashian.
That's
true.
what I'm going
What are you
for.
thinking?
Her show's on Hulu. And so I don't. All right, that's an interesting. He just said the right decision is whatever you decide. That was Robert being a Robert in a positive way. Rob being a Robert.
You keep asking people who have like a very different, like one, like their casting is different than yours. And the people who would have like a similar, like the way a show gets cast, like a reality show or anything, they cast types, right? Like you were cast in a specific spot, you would be cast as the comic,
Right,
correct?
right.
Yes.
It's very different. Like every time you ask somebody from a different perspective, they're going to have their own role, their opinion on
Dude,
that
I
spot.
asked Nikki Glazer, who is a great comic who did it. She was like, I would say do it. She was like, yes, you feel uncomfortable at times. She's like, but what other opportunity in show business is going to be like that?
That's my point. The comics that you spoke to all said, yeah, no, this is
Just
smart.
do
This
it.
makes sense for you.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys like, I mean, I don't want to shit on anybody in court, but like, I've met Mario Lopez before, one of the nicest people I've ever met.
Sure.
But I think before he did Dancing with the Stars or whatever, it was kind of like that was the guy from Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where now he's not even the guy from Saved by the Bell, it feels like, because of Dancing with the Stars.
Because he
the
did
guy
well.
he's the guy that does hotel room rental
Right.
movies.
Right, yeah.
He won Dancing with the Stars?
But I don't know. I know he was on it, but then he definitely did a reality
He has
show
a
that like
dance
brought him back.
background,
But then
too.
he was like hosting Entertainment Tonight and hosting all these shows, and like he became not AC Slater. You know what I
Right,
mean? It
right.
was like, oh, this is it.
But-
It definitely. What was he on it? Yeah, right.
Yeah, it looks like he was on the season that you were supposed to be on. You said season 3, right?
I was just making up a number. Yeah.
But here's the
I
thing,
don't
though.
know.
Like you've done a good job of like like even like on your social media presence, like it's everything is like nothing's even questionable. Everything's like all right, like we know who he is. He's not like I've done comedy podcasts for so long when I didn't think anybody was listening. So it's like you go and Dance with the Stars, it starts to become a thing. Then all of a sudden they're pulling up shit when I said the Japanese deserve to be put in the microwave in World War II. And so it's like you can't and it's all comedy, but you're like I'm like it's a
That you
bit.
repeated it on
It's
this
a-
episode so they didn't have to dig far.
I'm like, it's a bit, baby. It's a bit.
By the way, I feel like a Robert every time I have to take a sip of my water over this microphone. This
That's what it's designed for.
It is like you're clinking glasses.
this
with a
feels
husband.
Robert. Yeah.
You think even that's over? Even that?
Who cares? Like, but it's also like you're talking about that. You said all that stuff right now. Like, if somebody wants to go find that. And guess what? If they don't find that, that's their fault. Like,
Yeah.
I think you go on and then you double down.
Yes.
I think you're like, I won't have a Japanese dancing partner. You know?
Anybody who's ever fought in a war against my country remains my enemy. Yeah, I won't fuck nobody.
Yeah.
No, nobody from Iraq, nobody from Japan, Vietnam, they're out.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, all right, so I guess I'm doing it then. Nice. Vito's convinced me. But here's the thing, because Snooki, they allowed Snooki, when she did it, they allowed her to do her dance, because you have to go to L.A. for this, right, for a long period of time.
Oh, really?
But they allowed Snooki to do her dancing in the New York, New Jersey, wherever it
Bayonne.
was. Bayonne, exactly. Fucking Bayonne dancing princess.
How are you going to feel if you find out that they're like, what if they're like, yeah, that was Snooki, though. We're not going to let you do that.
Well, then I'm going to
Would
have...
your feelings be hurt?
Oh, that's what you could do too. You can go into this like, hey, I don't care if I get it or not. So you could ask for shit, and if they say no, you're like, all right, all good. Like
Well,
you
I
could
mean,
be like,
already they offered me money, and I already asked for 4 times the money just because I don't care.
right, and you want to do it in Flushing.
Yeah. I'm like that, and I want a private jet.
I'd like to judge my own performance.
There's a ballet studio in the Queens Center Mall we'd like to rent out for 6 months.
Oh, that would be hilarious. Me doing the things in the Queen Center Mall. Yeah, all right. So man, that's good. That's a good way to look at it. Because yeah, at the end of the day, I think we're also living in a time where, again, with the internet, that's the king. Anything you do, if it's fueling the internet, it's fueling your career.
How many weeks do you survive until you get really into it and you're like, now I want to win?
Here's what's going to happen. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen. Is I'm going to get really into it. I'm going to somehow advance past the first week and maybe even advance past the second week. I'm just going to like dig deep and do it. And then it's going to third week. I'm going to dig deep. And then what's going to happen is, are any of them live or they're all taped?
It's live. It's a live show with voting, dude.
Oh, the show's live. Okay.
You're a big fan, huh? You got
so-
really defensive over it. Is it?
No, I'm always shocked by how little he knows about things he's involved in.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. So what's going to happen is episode 3, episode 4, week 3, week 4, I'm really going to start getting people behind me, and then I'm going to blow my Achilles out on live television. and that's going to be the clip. It's my foot turned backwards like Gordon Hayward from the Celtics. Just backwards, and then that will be the meme. And then I'll be the new Tom Segura. With my body contorted backwards.
Full Kevin Ware in front of the judges table.
Yeah.
Well, the big comics, like I've asked Tom,
Tom sees that clip, he's like, fuck. Yeah.
I've asked Tom, I've asked those guys, all of them are like, dude, just fucking do it.
Well, you're new to being his employee.
Right. Well,
I didn't even know you were. So what are you doing?
Well, we're doing our ads and stuff through YMH.
Oh, okay. That's
So
why
it's-
I'm getting less money.
Probably.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, at least I'm in Flushing.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, at least I got to come out to Flushing.
Flushing. I know. I want them to get me like local ads. Like, why isn't rather than like, I mean, shout out HelloFresh, love them, but I also want like the fucking deli to just,
Yeah.
like,
Dirty
That's who's
Pierre's.
going to pay you big money. It's the fucking deli.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like that would be cool to have like a local, like a real local sponsor.
It would.
Imagine you
they're
got
not gonna-
fired from YMH for negotiating your own deals with the deli guy. Like you're trying to get $100 to
Yeah.
like talk about his fucking.
Yeah. I just want to talk about cold cuts on at Tips Deli.
He's got Boar's Head. They have Boar's Head.
Yo, shout out Fetcher's Deli, best bologna.
But no baloney.
No
you know?
bologna, yeah. Yeah, dude. So here's the thing. Here's the thing with you is obviously AJ Soprano. You talk about it all the time, but we don't care about it. We like the front. I mean, we care about it, but we'll talk to you about it fucking million times. We want to know fucking drug stories, baby. That's what we like.
I got them.
Yeah, baby. We love it because we got a couple of ex-drug addicts. See, here's what happened. Mike used to do drugs. Vito used to do drugs. John, drugs?
John still does drugs.
John still does drugs.
Right.
And now I haven't done drugs, but I am committed to starting drugs when I'm in my 50s. So I'm going to at some point get into drugs.
Don't
We're actually
do
a good
coke.
spectrum because he doesn't do drugs. He doesn't really drink. Mike doesn't drink or do drugs. I still
Well, no,
drink.
Mike does drugs.
Mushrooms
Oh,
and stuff.
But you don't
that's-
drink.
yeah.
I drink, don't do drugs, and John's all in.
So because I want to do it, and like, what's your advice on someone like me who wants to start
Is
using drugs
don't-
and will start
is-
using? Don't talk me out of it. Talk
Don't.
me into
No,
it.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Don't do coke.
Okay.
Coke, and no offense, but coke is the fucking worst drug. It's the wackest drug. It brings the most like negativity for the least like positivity. It's like, dude, do shrooms.
Okay.
And again, I'm not saying people to do this, to check with your whatever the fuck you're supposed to say, where I don't get in trouble. Like if
Right.
you want to do LSD, like you do some LSD. If you want to do Molly, if you could find good clean Molly, do some Molly. Coke is so whack. Like I probably, out of all the drugs I've done, I mean, you could argue like painkillers or weed, like alcohol, I guess, like more. But like I did so much coke, and none of like when I look back, like my fond drug memories are with coke. Like the
Right.
coke is always like, it's just kind of like dirty. It doesn't really make you feel good, or for me anyway. It's just that where like, shrooms, like you can do shrooms with somebody and be like, I'll love that person for the
Yeah.
rest of my life.
Right.
I have lifelong best friends that I've had one day with.
Right,
Like,
where
where
like
we
you do
connected.
coke with somebody, and the next day you're like, oh, I told that person too much. Like
Right,
I
yeah,
shouldn't have
yeah.
said. Like
Right,
it's
right.
just like a
Well,
dirty.
because coke is the pathway to your id and all of your darkest desires and the things you want from like a reptilian brain. And then mushrooms and all that other stuff takes you out of that and actually connects you to other people and makes you empathize with their situation. Like Coke is a pure evil, right to the core. Like I'm just gonna get what I want.
I think
no
here I'm
matter
going to
what.
do it, and then you name the movie. Well, I think the American people would empathize with our situation. What is our situation, Dad?
Wedding Crashers.
That's it, Wedding Crashers. So okay.
That's from the word empathy.
Yeah, well, you said empathize with our
That's right.
situation.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but like, dude, like again, I'm not recommending them, but shrooms are fantastic. Like,
Okay.
you can do shrooms and just have a beautiful,
Yes.
amazing. Like, there's nothing beautiful about Coke. Like, it's just whack. But like, what else is? I mean,
I have
Molly.
seen shrooms dormant or trigger dormant mental illness.
Well, I'll
though.
tell you what, man.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. When I went through a period last year of doing shrooms and edibles, and Jasmine brought this up to me very recently, she's like, I think that's when you started to get the idea to sell your house. You started thinking about selling your house and making all these moves in that period.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do shrooms in here.
when you were doing shrooms and mushrooms.
This would be a whack place to do shrooms.
all right, because it's just like a old
Because I would
lady's
just start
house.
looking at the walls and be like, like I would just start to feel like I don't
want
know.
it.
Yeah.
No,
I did like
I was
10 milligrams and had like a full-on panic attack. Like, it was a bad
remember
day.
when I
It's an
took
outdoor drug anyway. You
Remember when I
Yeah,
took
yeah,
those
yeah.
edibles, those weed edibles, and I started to like really beat myself up bad?
The episode
I think
we
that's the
haven't
real
released.
me. Yeah, we couldn't even release. We release everything, and we couldn't. And Vito was like had to call me personally and be like, dude, like I know like this is your show, but like the way you attacked yourself, like I really don't think we should have that out there. And I almost don't even remember it. I was like disconnected from my body.
Yeah.
I was getting hard
I
on
think
myself.
the only thing to me darker than Coke is weed edibles.
Right.
Like, I have
You won't do those.
I have gone on deep. Well, no, I've been sober for like 10 years now, but 11 actually. But the weed, like dude, I used to be able to I would do Coke for fucking 3 days and wake up next day and be like, all right, who wants to party? Like, whatever. I would take a weed brownie and like 48 hours later, all my friends would be like, dude, what are you talking about? It's still going on. It would still be going on for me. And I'd be like, it was the only time I would do drugs and be like, I need this to stop. Like, and I did it so few times in my life, but like the times I did, it was just, it's dark.
Wait, but when you're sober, you mean like no alcohol, no drugs, nothing?
Yeah. For 11 years. Because again, I stopped like 11 years ago, but then I had a process where I had to see like a specialist to get off of benzos because you could die if you quit benzos. I was addicted to alcohol. I was taking Molly like every fucking day. Xanax and Percocets. But the Xanax was the thing where like I needed to go get help and be like, how do I get off of this without dying? Because
Well,
it's
your
so
heart can
scary.
stop?
Yeah.
No, you could have seizures and like all these fucking heart. You could just. It's the only thing. Alcohol and benzos are the only things that you can die from. And I'm sure people will be like, I know someone who died from this. Like it's 1 in a billion, whatever. But like benzos, it's like you can die from the withdrawals. Dude, Xanax is never get addicted to Xanax.
Don't do it.
I've had 2 friends have to go through that entire process.
What
and they
does
said
Xanax make
it's
you
hell.
feel like?
I'd rather be addicted. I'd rather wake up tomorrow addicted to everything I was ever addicted to without Xanax rather than just Xanax. Like, I'd rather have to kick everything I ever kicked rather than just kick Xanax.
What was it about Xanax that was so hard?
Okay, so kicking Xanax feels like, imagine your biggest fear
Episode
was...
title, Kicking Xanax.
Imagine your biggest fear was jumping out of an airplane. Kicking Xanax feels like you're standing at the open door of an airplane every second and somebody going, "You ready?" And you're like, "Ah!" But you're just sitting on your couch and you're doing and you're like, I can't, like, and then you have this pill that's over there that, like, if I just take that, this will stop. And you're like, I have to take it. And then you take it and you're like, whew, all right, once for lunch. And then you're like, okay, now I have to get mentally back into kicking this thing.
So was there one time when you finally kicked it where you just kind of beat it? Like you just were like, I'm not taking it, and then it just never came back?
Yeah, it was over beef. Like, I had beef with the specialist who I was seeing.
Oh, I thought you meant the Netflix show Beef.
Yeah, no. I'm such a fucking hard-headed like idiot that I was seeing this guy to really help me like get off the shit. And in the beginning, he was $500 a pop, and because Sopranos doesn't pay me residuals, I had no insurance or whatever, which I don't even know if that would have covered anyway. But I didn't have the like, after paying him $500 a bunch of times, I was like, oh, he's really helping me and like getting me off of this shit. But then as I kicked everything except for like a very small amount of Xanax, it was like, this doesn't feel like this is worth me coming back anymore and paying this amount of money. So he's like, okay, I could do it for half the price, like $250. I'm like, okay, great. Then I went away for like 3 months to California. I came back. And he charged me $500 the next time I saw him. And I was like, what is this? And he was like, well, you went away. And I was so mad. After that, I was like, I'm not taking the Xanax, so I never have to walk into that guy's fucking office ever again.
Wow.
So I was like, this could have been a move, and he's like the best therapist. Like,
He's sitting there right now, like,
and he's like, yeah,
You have passed.
$500, yeah. But I was so, because it had probably been like 3 years that I was lowering, and I couldn't not take the one before bed because I just thought I was going to die in my sleep.
Right.
And that was the one that I was like, I cannot do it. And then that night, when I got the fucking $500 bill, I was like, fuck this. I was so mad. And I was like, fuck this dude. And that night, I just laid in bed, like eyes wide open, and was like, I'm just going to go to sleep without it. And then I just didn't sleep, stayed up through the next day, next night, went to bed, and then that was it. I haven't touched Xanax since.
That's
Wow.
pretty sick.
Yeah.
Did you-
Actually, I took it once to get on a flight, and I felt awful the next day, and I was like, now I'm done.
Now, and that was 10, 11 years ago.
That, I mean, I quit everything over 11 years ago now. The Xanax was probably 9 or 8 years ago or some shit.
It's funny you mentioned too, like the no residuals from the Sopranos. When I got a group chat with my boys from home, and I was like, "Oh, you were coming on," and one of my boys was like, "Yo, you think he's gonna take a helicopter into Forest Hills?" And I was like, "No, he's gonna take a 90-minute Uber pool because they're not getting residuals, and the podcast business is down for us all."
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
barely fucking hanging on, buddy.
Yeah, Bidenomics.
Yeah, Bidenomics.
It's crushing us right
I know
now.
it is nuts. Where like it's one of those things where I'm sure you get recognized so much, and people have these ideas of like how much money they think you have, and they're like, I don't have anything like you, but I have. People definitely think in my own family.
Yeah.
They don't. They're like, oh, you were on MTV too, and I'm like, yeah, buddy.
Well, when you're in your third house, fourth one in the works, garage in the bed, you're kind of doing it to yourself here.
Yeah. No, but they've all been bad decisions.
Yeah.
And Mike, what kind of parent do you strive to be?
I'll tell you what kind of parent I strive not to be. One that can't provide for my family.
Exactly. And you know the best way to provide for your family?
How?
And be safe? Life insurance.
That's right.
Right? Dude, life insurance, people that don't have life insurance, I understand why people make choices, but I really believe, especially you got kids, you got a family, you need life insurance because you never know what's going to happen. Something could happen. You want to make sure that your parents, because we're going to hell.
Is there anybody that knows that better than me? Driving along in Batavia, Illinois, out of nowhere, I'm in the passenger seat, then I'm upside down in a vehicle.
Yeah.
I was okay, thank goodness, but anything could have happened. And in that moment, I'm protected. My family is protected. They have access to money because I got my life insurance through Ethos.
Exactly. You were protected that day by Ethos. That's why you survived.
That's right.
Ethos, it is a life insurance company. What I like about them is you get same-day coverage, 3 easy steps. Quick, easy, and of course, all online. Answer a few health questions, all online. No medical exam required. You see your rate in minutes. Term life policies start as low as $10 a month. You can start your policy instantly. I mean, you can literally listen to this ad and within 20 minutes have a life insurance policy, boom, and you can feel protected.
And it's customizable, so it can fit your size and budget just right to you, right to your needs.
Dude, they got affordable options from 10 years of coverage to 30 years of coverage. They can mix and match whatever you need, get your kids through college, help the spouse with the mortgage, whatever it is. Ethos has got you covered. Be the parent you want to be. Get up to $2 million in term life insurance coverage in 10 minutes with Ethos. Answer just a few health questions and get your free quote at ethoslife.com/chaos. That's ETHOS life.com/chaos. Go do it.
I want to make it clear. I'm not complaining about Sopranos. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. They paid me very well. HBO took care of me very well. They were very sweet to me. They still are. It's just the fact is, because of HBO On Demand, we don't get residuals. Like, if you look at the, people say it's one of the best shows ever. If you look at the top 10, 100 shows of all time, like the amount of money those people made compared to us is crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it's
especially
not
during
even
the
close.
pandemic, it blew up again.
Right.
So that must have been, I mean, of course, it's got to be great to see your work become more popular again. But
I don't
then
give
on
a
some
shit,
level, you're
yeah.
like, I'm not seeing a fucking cent of this.
Did you
Yeah,
make
yeah,
money
yeah.
off the box sets when DVDs were still a thing?
No, because we like TV shows coming out on tape and on DVD wasn't even a thing back then. You know what I mean? It wasn't even like, oh, should we put, so like it wasn't in any of our contracts. And I think, I could be wrong. I think later on James Gandolfini like renegotiated to get it into his, but like HBO On Demand, you could go watch Sopranos a billion times on HBO On Demand. I get nothing.
Zero.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, we were fucking all watching it over the last couple of days just to fucking pump your pockets.
First season was filmed
do
at
it?
my high school,
Yeah.
where you get in a fight on the baseball field. That's my high school, Tappan Zee High School.
Oh,
and I remember
really?
signs saying, because nobody knew what the show was, and it said Sopranos, and everybody was like, what gay music show are they filming at
Yeah,
our
Do you
high
remember
school?
that? Were you there for that?
Yeah, yeah.
The high school?
Yeah, I remember, but I also remember everybody thinking in the beginning, like, even the actors in the first year were like, "Oh, this is some like musical, like
Right.
this is some music show that we're."
I
we're gonna do."
was looking like a year ago. Sometimes what I'll do is like I don't know if you guys do this. Like I'll go to another city or even in New York if I have like time to kill. I'll go into buildings or like if I see like a like a show like a real estate like a for rent on Zillow or whatever, and I'll make an appointment just to see the apartment. Like I'll go look at like $50,000 a month apartments. I'll go look at $6 million. Because a lot of these times, like if they've been on sale for a while, you could just walk into them, obviously with an appointment. You don't have to prove your income or anything like that. So I go into this one. It was a townhouse in Manhattan, and they had a thing that was like, hey, this one's like an open house pretty much.
Right.
So I go in. I was with Emilio, so our manager. We call him the Italian woman. So we go in. The real estate agent's very nice. And it's like a gated-in community of townhouses in Manhattan. I'm sure it was like a $10 million. I don't know how much. It was insane. But we went in just because we were like, this is cool to look at. So we go in, and the lady's like, and she goes, and obviously one of like the perks about like living in an area like this is like a lot of celebrities. She's like, I cannot legally tell you who lives directly across the street, but it is someone very well known that you would know, and it's just like, cool, and she's very nice. And then with that, like it was almost like it was from a movie. With that, the windows were open. It was like May, so it was kind of warm. The windows were open. You hear a voice from across from their house. I don't know what the argument was about. I have no idea what was going on, but you just hear a voice go, "Yeah, I'm fucking Edie Falco." Amelia was like, "Could it be Edie Falco?" And she was like, "She said it, not me."
They have her stand-in from Sopranos outside the window doing that every time.
I was on. He was like, "I'm fucking Edie Falco," and it could have been like a bit that she was doing, like but it was funny. And but yeah, so I know where Edie Falco lives.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm sure you do too.
Well, it's not going to be hard for people to find the gated community of townhouses in New York City.
No, there's a few of them. So, but there's only about 3 or 4. So. But you
knock
can't
them all out in a day.
You can't get in.
I thought you were going to say, like, she's like, I don't want to tell you who lives across the street, but then she started humming the Sopranos theme song, She's like,
Do you ever watch it when it's on?
I've never watched the show, no.
Yeah, I think if I was in your position, I think I'd be similar. I would never watch it.
You're not going to watch Dancing with the Stars?
No.
No.
I've never watched any of my comedy specials.
Dude, you got to watch it on the pod as like you're dissecting game film.
Yeah.
Watch your footwork, what you did wrong
Yeah.
or right. I mean,
No,
that's
what's
That's
gonna
a
be
gonna
crazy
amazing.
two-step I did right there.
What's
yeah.
going to be the bit? What will be the greatest? What I think will be the fun bit on the show, if she's down for it, is to watch it live on the pod with Jazz.
Yeah.
And watch, because I'm sure every dance partner's a hot chick. Watch that. Watch her watching me watching that, because it's going to be fun for me to try to dance and also not touch anyone.
It's part of the show too.
It's a long-standing tradition of intercouple like romance.
They play on that. They play on rumors.
No,
They-
I
but
feel
she-
like from what I know about you guys, I don't think she cares if you're like rubbing up on a chick.
I mean, not from what from what you witnessed on the steps. And no,
the
what
step incident earlier.
what I am gonna, if I do it, what I'm gonna make sure I will not be anything for the serious reality part of it. It has to be funny all the time.
Why don't you ask for a male partner just to?
I would love to
that would be
actually.
cool.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome.
You know where I really dropped the ball? I should have done Dancing with the Stars just so I could have had like Paulie Walnuts and like other people when they cut to like here to support Rob today. And it's just like Paulie Walnuts in the suit like smoking a Marlboro Light, just like
Dude, Paulie Walnuts, like a year before he died, I lived in Bay Ridge, and I was going into the supermarket on Bay Ridge Avenue, and he lived in Bay Ridge down by the water, and I saw like an older guy coming out of the supermarket holding, I'm not joking, 20 bags in each hand. He must have had 200 pounds of groceries in his hand in a fucking wife beater, just still pretty pumped biceps, just walk, and he died like a year later, so he was like
gray
at the-
sweatpants.
at the end of his life, walking like 6 blocks down, and one of the guys that I know knew him. He was like, "Oh, do you need Tony?" Right? He was like, "Do you need you need any help? And he goes, I got it. And he just kept walking down.
Yeah.
And then he would sit, here's the part, he would sit right by the water in Bay Ridge. He lived on the top floor, and he would sit outside on a lawn chair and just fucking be like a neighborhood guy. Like
Yeah.
just, right? Because, I mean, that's who he
Fully.
was. He was a neighborhood guy for real.
100%. Yeah.
Was he cool to you? I mean, he must have been the best, right? He must have been the best guy.
He's the best. Yeah, he's the one where you're like, fuck. He's just so like larger than life. And again, I've said this many times, but it's like when people say like, I wish I got to meet James Gandolfini. It's like, yeah, you know, you should have. It would have been nice. When people are like, I wish I got to meet Tony Sirico. I'm like, you did. You watched him for 10 years.
Yes.
That's him. Like that was the guy. I remember I was like maybe 14, 15. I don't know when I started like being like, okay, I could smoke cigarettes now around everybody and like not be weird about it. And I remember like I think I lit or he lit, like I think I lit a match to like light my cigarette and we were outside, and then like I went to him with the match, and he was like, he looked at me like I was having sex with another man in front of him, and he looked at me and he goes, a real man lights his own match. Yeah. And I was like 14 or 15, and I was like, oh, okay. Like I thought I was trying to be like, you know, whatever.
He's
Sorry.
old school.
He's so old, but he was the sweetest, greatest, like no nonsense. Always like, you got a problem? Like you call me. Like anytime. It was
Was it cool working with him? Because I mean, obviously he became an actor, but he didn't have like training in acting.
That was his first acting role? Sopranos?
No, I think he was in Goodfellas as well.
Oh, right.
He had like periphery parts, but like, I mean, that's a heavy lifting acting part for somebody who doesn't.
And a lot of people on the show, like I had very little acting experience. I think we had Drea de Matteo on our podcast recently, and she was saying that was her first role. Like it was a lot of people.
From OnlyFans? Let me ask you this. This is something I always wondered, just because like I wonder about this even like with athletes.
It's $9.99 a month. I'm a member. Yeah.
Yes. We're getting to it.
Drea's OnlyFans.
We're talking about it. We're talking
it's
about
great.
it. We're gonna get to it. But I always want to. But that'll be the next thing, because I always ask. I always wonder, like when you're like on an iconic show like that, just like when you're like a pro athlete, do you like when you're in? How many seasons did Sopranos go?
So I think it was technically like 6, but there was 6A, 6B to get out of like weird contract things to not be a 7th season. But it took us 10 years.
So when you're in your 9th year of like being on The Sopranos, are you sometime, even it's an iconic show, the most famous show in the world at its time, were you like, I got to go to fucking work again? I got to go do this show again, because you just get used to it. Like, I wonder if LeBron James is like, I got to go play on the lake. Like, I want to go. I want to stay home.
It was never that, but there were times where it was like, hey, do you want to go do this thing? And it was like, no, I got to fucking work. But it wasn't just because like not only did you love the work, but you love the people, and not just the Tony Siricos. You love the camera guy. You love the wardrobe people. Like the people, like our PAs were like some of our best friends. Like it was like, okay, we're done working. Let's go out. Let's hang out.
Let's do Xanax.
Right, yeah.
Sit at the edge of the plane.
And you guys recorded in Queens, right? At Silver Cup?
Yeah, we recorded in Queens.
Why did you ask that like a question, dude? You know, you have Sopranos logos tattooed on your stomach.
Sopranos life over his belly button. Yeah, but no, there was never a time. But I will tell you, like, when it was time to wrap up the show, like the last 2 seasons, there was definitely, for me, the feeling of, like, I'm down for what everyone wants. Like, if people don't want to do this show anymore, I don't want to do this show anymore. If people want to do 5 more seasons, I'll do 5 more seasons. Like, the money was good. The people are great. It's great. But also, like, when they were ready to stop, I was like, that's cool, too. Because, like, I started acting when I was 6 years old.
Right.
So I was 22, and they were like, "Yeah, you're gonna have a bunch of money in the bank account and no job. Are you okay with that?" Like people were like, "You must have been so sad when it ended." I was like, "No, I was ready to go."
Good.
Like
Have you blown through that money now because of the drugs and stuff? Or are you still okay?
No, luckily when you're like on one of the best shows ever, you get drugs for free.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of drugs for free, which was really
good.
nice.
So you actually financially it worked out.
Financially, I'm okay, but I also luckily I don't know how this happened, but like I never made any investments up until like the financial crisis, which I think was like 2008.
Yeah.
And then like right after that, I just happened to be like, I'm gonna get like Apple and Netflix and like Amazon and like a couple of things. So like I did very well with that, and then like I made some decent investments, and I did all right, but. I'm on that weird thing where like I don't think I'm okay for the rest of my life. Right. Like I mean I am if I wanted to move to like
That's why you got to do the right thing this November.
I could live the rest of my life if I wanted to move like a $75,000 house in the middle of the country,
Sure.
like somewhere, and just carry my groceries 6 blocks like do that thing. Cool, but I think if I want to live in New York City and Austin, like I'm definitely not.
You have to work. You have to.
Yeah,
So, would it
I
be
gotta do-
acting, or are you just going to stay with the pods?
I don't know, but also like I don't have to work now. Like I have a good 10-year runway of like hanging out,
Good.
but then that's even worse because in my head I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna be 49, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, oh wait, now I'm broke.
Now I
Like,
gotta work?
Right. So no, luckily like now I enjoy things like poker and I have the podcast and other things like the reason why I have the extra years is because 2 years ago they called me and Jamie and they're like, do you want to do a Sopranos commercial, Sopranos Super Bowl commercial?
Oof.
And we were like, okay. And they
Yeah.
paid me more than I've ever made in one day
I believe
of
it.
my
That's
entire
amazing.
life. And then it was just like, that was one of those things where I remember there's a few times, and I had friends who liked to steal stuff. I was never that kid. Like I stole stuff a few times and like I didn't feel good about it. I'd be like, I'm not that guy. I felt like I stole.
Right.
So, because you do this commercial and
I
I
know.
didn't even have a line. You go for one day, you shoot it. I sat in a car waiting to do my thing, and they wanted to get like a certain lighting, like a certain time of day. So we shot it like 3 times, and then they're like, all right, yeah, you go home now. And I remember driving off in the car back to the city, and I was like, I haven't had this feeling since I was like 13 and like stole something.
Right.
Like I was like, this is
How could this be it?
Is that it? Like,
Right.
and I kept being like, wait, that's it. And I would text Jamie. I'd be like, that's it? Like,
Yeah.
And it was like, this is crazy.
It
like,
was one day of your life.
less. Yeah. I could have, it was like coming to do this pod.
Yeah.
And making enough money to buy a home.
Yeah.
Like,
That's amazing.
It was fucking, like, I'm like, I can't believe this happened. Like, it was really bizarre. And then when it aired on the Super Bowl, I've never seen my phone do what it did. Like, I've never, because when is everybody these days watching something all at once?
Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah. Besides when you blow out your Achilles.
Yeah.
Like my phone, I couldn't use my phone. Like
Right.
because I was like, okay, here it comes. And
Right.
like, I think Jamie texted me like, this is going to be crazy. I love you, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, nah, like this isn't going to be whatever. And then my phone started going off to the point where like I picked it up, tried to start looking at stuff, and then just had to put it down because I was like, oh, my phone is... It was a good, like, I don't know if it was 8-10 minutes, whatever, of like, this is a non-usable phone right
It's
now.
just keep beep, beep, beep.
Because it was
Crazy.
just like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and it was like everybody from like, oh my God, because I didn't even tell my family.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody. I was like, you fuckers are going to be fucking.
See this.
Yeah.
And
And
I
then
love
I'm
that
just
you-
sitting there lighting a cigar with a $100 bill at home while my phone is blowing
The
up.
commercial canon.
Do you know what canon means?
It
Canon?
means within the world of the show. Like, is it an
candid?
offshoot but
Canon.
still a part of the
Canon?
story and
Canon.
world?
What?
You've never heard. Mike knew that. I mean, well, it's your
It's
last
his
name.
last
so
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that canon meaning? Is it of the world? Like, is it?
Is it in that world? Is that what's going on in Sopranos today?
Canonically.
Wow.
Oh, now you get it.
I like that.
The one word that comes out of the drug guy is canonically.
Canonically.
Whoa, bro! Damn, he's on some shit. huh?
By the way, this is like what it is having like a 25-year-old kid or 26. He's like he loves you like the biggest fan. He's been just looking down the entire time, absolutely no eye contact, just fucking looking down when one of his heroes is sitting right across the room.
A list of questions to ask you. Now he's all silent.
Did you say a whist of questions?
Yeah.
A whist of
He had
questions.
a whist of
Oh, I didn't know my kids were home.
Well, that's weird because usually people who are you said 25 are not the big Sopranos.
Big Sopranos fans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think Sopranos is how did you get into it? Was your family into it, John?
No, I just bought HBO when I was in college, and I watched. I loved it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it's that show and The Wire. I think are the two that people are like we binge these on HBO.
Big on Sopranos is pretty big on TikTok now.
I mean,
Right.
they do
Yeah,
that
COVID
Vertical.
and
They do the
stuff.
vertical Sopranos. That's so beautiful. Have you seen that?
No.
Somebody is like taking it from the classic like landscape and they made it vertical, but they extended the view of the thing and through AI, so it looks like the
Wow.
show was
Well,
actually shot like that.
HBO's official TikTok, I think, has been doing a thing where every episode they've made a TikTok version of the show.
It's so cool.
Wow.
It's very cool.
That's sick.
Right. Yeah, I think.
I don't know. I didn't. I just wanted to get the bag and get out of there. I didn't.
By the
ask,
way,
I wasn't
I love
asking
it.
any questions. I was trying to not be seen by people
Bro, and
on
I
that
love
set.
the idea too of like this commercial is like it's 95% Jamie. You're in it at the very end, and that's it.
Dude, I couldn't believe because like when they were like, "Do you want to do a Super Bowl commercial?" I'm like, "All right, I'm gonna have to fucking act, but I'm sure it'll be great money and whatever." And then they were like, "No, you," and they were like doing all the work over by the car with Jamie, and I'm sitting in like a beat up whatever car, like over here, whatever they have me in, like in the corner for like 3 hours, just like chilling.
Yeah.
And then they were like, "All right, we're gonna do 3 takes," and like I got out of the car, I put my arm out, walked into the restaurant with her, and they were like, "All right, you're done." Like I was just sitting in that car for hours.
That's it. You were sitting in that actual red car.
Yeah. And then I would get out, walk in with her 3 times, and it was like, all right, that's a wrap. And I was in, I swear, my phone would ring in the car on the way home. And I was like, oh, that's it. Like,
yeah,
it was bad. Like something, and you're just waiting. And it probably, realistically, it was months, like 3
Was that during COVID too? Times?
Yeah.
So with that, you have to
whole
get
fucking
tested and
thing.
everything?
Well, I was the only one who didn't have to get tested because I had just had COVID. This was during like Omicron. So everybody was like, we can't get COVID. And I was like, because that was the other thing. I was like, oh my God. So of course, like, you know, you come to fucking New York City to see your family. I hadn't had COVID in whoever knows how long, like a year. I had it right when it started, whatever. I come to see my family. I come to New York. My family's like, yeah, come up and see us. I come see us. My brother's laying on the couch like this, holding his head. And he's like, I just feel like shit all day and my head is pounding. And he's listing all the fucking symptoms of COVID.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, I can't smell anything.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have COVID. I'm like, that means everyone in this house has COVID. I'm like, and in my head, I'm like, I gotta do a Super Bowl commercial, guys. Like, but I can't say that. Like, I'm just like, you guys are fucking idiots. Like,
Yeah.
you all have COVID. And my
Yeah.
brother's like, you believe that bullshit? Like, you know? I'm like, yeah, dude, they're gonna take the money away.
Yeah.
So then after like, you know, because then I had COVID for dude. I don't know if you want to take a little turn. I have maybe the craziest COVID story.
Let's hear it, dude.
I mean, obviously,
Let's hear it because we have believers and non-believers
other
in the room.
people who, you know, actually lost people are going to be like, that's not the craziest COVID story. But so I'm in New York City now. That happens. My brother's laying on the couch. I get home now, 2 days later, whatever it is, I test positive for fucking COVID. But I'm in this apartment. I'm doing like an Airbnb, and it's a railroad apartment. And there's one window that like faces the apartment across from me, and you could see in that person's apartment through the window. So I see them walk around, whatever. I pay no mind. And now it's like, I forget if it was right before I tested positive for COVID, or like as I was testing for COVID, there's a knock on my front door. No one knows I'm staying in this apartment. So I'm like, who the fuck is this? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, it's the police. Open up. And there's no peephole. So I'm like, this could be some fucking fake, because it's COVID. Like, shit was wild. Like, it was COVID,
yeah.
and there was no doorman in this building. I'm like, anybody could be. And I was like, nah. Like, and they're like, open the door. We need to talk to you. And I was like, no. Like, I'm not opening the door. And then eventually I was like, yeah, I have COVID. The fucking, all of a sudden, so the window didn't, it was like a railroad apartment at the end. There's a big window. The window didn't have a lock. So I put a pipe, like, going across the top, like the thing where you would hang your clothes in the closet. It came off, and like I put it in the thing to hold it. All of a sudden I hear that pipe fall out, and the window's opening, and I'm like, yo, like, and the guy's like, yeah, and he's like, it's the police, like, we need to talk to, and I'm like, get the fuck out, like, yo, it was crazy. I'm like, get out. I'm like, no, the wrong apartment, because they're like, is this 4B? I'm like, no, it's 4A. And I'm like, I have COVID. Like, you know? And so now, like, they go, and I hear all the walkie-talkies outside. I'm like, okay, this definitely really is the cops. And all of a sudden, I see them get into the apartment next door, and there's like all these cops going back and forth. And then I start seeing flashes going off. I think, like, I can't remember the stuff. The girl who was in the apartment next to me also tested positive for COVID. She was on a 10-day, isolation or whatever they called it then, and she killed herself.
And you saw her walking back.
I saw her for the whole time I was staying there. Like, I saw her walking by, and there was one day where I was like, should I say hi to this person? Because it's weird that, like, we're both like walking by all the time. And I was like, no. And then like, dude, so now not only did this person just commit suicide, the cops are there taking picture. I'm hours in, or just found out that I now have COVID, and I'm going to be in this apartment for 10 days.
Wow.
So now, dude, I'm sitting in this apartment for 10 days with COVID. I think it ended up being 6, and my other friends had COVID, so like we all went somewhere. You're hearing like her parents show up to the home, and just the howls. While I'm like laying in bed with my head pounding and sick, you're hearing like of just people crying, and I'm like, what? Am I gonna die? Like,
Why
I was,
didn't the neighbor just say hello?
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh my god, dude, it was.
She loves Sopranos.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Dude, it was fucking wild, man. And
Oh
they're
my
like,
God.
they're knocking on my door constantly, like cops every day. Like, we need to talk to you. Like, what'd you see? And I'm like, I have COVID.
I didn't see any.
Like, do you want me to answer the door? And they're like, no, don't answer the door. Like, so I'm like talking to cops through the door. There's cops.
They don't even know that it's you.
Yeah, no one knows.
Wow.
There's cops sitting outside of the building for like,
Yeah.
dude, it was.
They recognize it's you. They're like, wait, are you AJ from Sopranos? And you're like, yeah, I have COVID. And they're like, I always hated that character.
You were always such a wet blanket. Yeah.
Wow, dude. That actually is nuts to deal with that.
And then you're obviously like, her family dealt with the horrible stuff and what
course.
she was dealing with this. But then like you're sitting there for days because then like, there's, and again, 99% of me was like, you're going to have COVID, you're going to be fine. But there is that 1% when like you're hearing when the ambulance is outside and you're like, it just starts to like get that anxiety creeps up in you of like, I have COVID-19. Like at the time, anytime you put on the news, it was like that ball with the spikes coming
my
out.
God.
Like everything was just
Yeah,
like
the
COVID,
countdown.
you're gonna die. Like
Yeah.
so like 99%. I was like, fuck this thing. I'm gonna have a headache. I'm gonna be fine. But then the 1% was like it would creep up on you where you're like, oh my god.
So yeah, man. And then because I feel like those stories, like Dan Soder, great, our great friend, great comic. I just saw him doing a bit the other night. It's a great bit about how he still to this day doesn't have smell.
Yeah.
From COVID. I'm like, I thought everybody got everything back. Because if
Right.
I didn't have smell or taste still, I don't know that it would be tough for me to find reasons to live. And I have kids.
Yeah, and multiple houses.
Yeah. And I'm just like, wow, man, that girl fucking, damn, that sucks. Well, I mean, either that or you murder her with the pipe, what the police suspected. It's one or the other.
It was AJ with the pipe in the Airbnb.
Dude, so Drea Di Matteo, yeah, the big OnlyFans, which I actually, again, another big thing I didn't know about, has the OnlyFans, you're on it, but
Who's on it?
No, I think so you're on it.
Oh no, I'm not on her OnlyFans. What do you think I'm doing collabs with her? No, she was on our podcast and she talked about her OnlyFans.
Oh, I thought you said $9.99 a month. I'm a member of her OnlyFans.
I meant like, I was kidding. Yeah, no,
okay,
I
my
thought
bad.
you meant like I'm on the OnlyFans with her.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay.
And then I thought you were like one of these two are a member. I was like, oh, cool.
No, I've never.
Sorry.
I've actually never even. Well, no, I did. Didn't we do OnlyFans once on the pod? Didn't we look up somebody's OnlyFans? Didn't we sign up with the card for somebody?
Not when I was here.
Maybe that was Pimp then. But yeah, so this OnlyFans. See, that's the thing is like she's making more money on OnlyFans than you did in the Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But here's
Yeah.
the flex, right? I see it's $10.50 for a subscription. Is that the new $9.99?
Must be.
Is that being like, hey, you too broke? You too broke
Inflation,
for
baby.
$10, you
Yeah.
bitch? Like,
Yeah.
like what? I've never seen that $10.50 instead of the $9.99.
So what is it with OnlyFans though? Some people will do it where it's just pics, and then some people do it where it's actual porn.
Well,
Yeah.
I think
not everybody's
I think
porn.
the $10.50 is like a cover charge just to get in the club, and then once you're in there, drinks are $18 a piece. Like, you
And then
have
it's
to,
like paying per thing.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. Jess,
Are
when
you
the
in-
kids
are you in
coming home,
trouble
by the way?
again?
I don't think so. I don't think I'm in trouble. I'm not on her OnlyFans. What?
I love how she's like cleaning up plastic
Yeah. When are
bags.
the kids? When are the kids supposed to come home, Jazz?
She's not talking to you.
They're still, are they at the play place? Nice. Are you wearing my shirt again?
Yes, this is your shirt.
Because you've been wearing my clothes. Delilah's actually wearing my sweater.
That's your Dancing with the Stars premiere shirt.
Yeah.
I think you got to wear that. day one.
AJ. Rob said that he thinks Dancing with the Stars, he thinks it's all content, and if we could do it in New York, he would do it. But what I'm going to pitch to them is me and you do it together with a dance partner. What do you think of that?
What I said to him was, I think whatever decision he makes is the right decision. I don't think there's a wrong. Like, if you guys think you should do it, great. If you don't, I think that's fine too. I don't think it's like, of course you should or shouldn't.
I just kind of feel like that's like you're nearing the end of your like career.
No, but Rob said
You're
that.
kind of trying to like revive it.
No,
But
but
that's what I say. Tell that to Mario Lopez.
Right. That's and he got offered to do it like 15 years ago when maybe that, but now it's become something different. We have podcasts, we have the internet, we have content.
I think it is what you make it. Like, if you're great on it, I think it's great for you. And like, if you like, I think there's people people are like, oh, I bet that actress is like so fun and funny, and really she's like a wet mop. But then she goes on that show and it's bad for her career because she's like, like just whack. But if people are like, oh, we don't really know, and then like you open up to this new audience of great people, but also like if you don't want to do it, I think that's fine too.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, nothing to say. Yeah. It's one of those things where we're all feeling trouble now. And I think it's one of those things where here's what's happening. I'm going to tell you what's happening right now.
She wore that shirt so you could see the cold shoulder she's giving you.
Yes, frio. So it's like one of those things. It's like one of those things where you're happy that you're not in trouble. So you're like going to be giddy, like you're going to get happier. You're going to be like, thank God that ain't me. But I'm in, the fucking electric chair right now, and I'm about to die.
But I feel like from what I've seen of you guys, again, I feel like this is your comfort zone with her.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah.
I feel like if she came down and was like, hey babe, how's everything good? I feel like you'd be like, oh no,
It's like,
what's
wait,
going
what did
on?
I do?
Yeah.
No, I think, it's it should be all good, but I am nervous. So who's this now?
What percentage of your relationship do you think you spend in that area?
Not as much. Maybe 20% now. Not
okay.
as much. Yeah, not as much. But
It's the Polish Olympian that everybody's talking about.
what does she also have an OnlyFans? What?
No, she's got a cake though. It's crazy.
Oh.
This is the tattooed up one.
Yeah.
Those tattoos are pretty cool. I kind of like that print, like tattoo print on the leg.
I'm not.
And she gets
On a guy, I meant.
she's been getting
for the bros.
she's been getting compared to a porn star named Bella Danger.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Is she doing well, this Polish girl?
I believe she won silver.
Oh, that's pretty good. Poland quietly has been doing great in these Olympics. I saw them. They're great in men's volleyball.
They're doing a full rebrand, Poland.
Poland's rebranding.
Oh, and she's racing speed.
She threw the pole over the thing.
Right.
So she agreed to a race against the streamer Speed, who's like a freak athlete. He just
Is he
jumped
Polish?
over. No.
Oh.
He just jumped over two
Full
Lamborghinis.
rebrand.
John says it's fake. I don't think it's fake.
John's
that
wife-
what happened? That she jumped
You
over
know the streamer Speed?
Yeah.
He jumped over two Lambos on a live stream.
coming at him.
Yeah, I'll pull it
They've
up.
shown it from several different angles where my immediate impulse is that it's fake, but that's a lot of post-production work.
Where if he would have gotten hit, he would have been dead on impact.
Oh, immediate. Yeah, it's like that Kobe commercial, but they did it in real life. Like
Yeah.
Kobe did that commercial
Well,
where he jumped
people
over a
have
Lambo.
done this before.
Whoa.
Oh yeah, I think this is real.
I mean, you got to.
Whoa.
The margin
gotta
for
time
error
it.
is 0.
I'll tell you the only thing that made me think it was fake was that, like that cop car. Do you see that cop car in the background? That's like a blockade. I feel like it's so close to him, and those cars are going so
That's
fast.
a
Yeah.
high-performance vehicle, though, dude. They stop on a dime.
Yeah, but why risk that?
Maybe that's all they could close down. I mean, I don't know. I'm making excuses. I also probably think it's fake, but I would love for this
I
to be
think
real.
it's real. Like, to be honest, like it was on a live stream too. I don't know how you fake that, but like
It's like
John
the Leon
over here,
Edwards
John is
kick.
very adamant.
John is adamant about this being fake.
Super fake.
Did you see that one, the Leon Edwards kick? He's the UFC fighter where he's running and then he runs past a basketball court. Somebody throws him the ball and he literally kicks it midair and it goes in. And my immediate impulse is like, it's fake. I wish it was real. And then there's other angles. All these companies like are now rereading how people react to AI. So then they just release different angles of the same thing to throw you, I guess, even more into confusion.
All the legends are going to be pre-2022 because
Yeah.
it's going to be like, no, he really did that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, where now it's like, nah, like
Right.
anybody, you see anything, it's like, nah, I wasn't really in that Super Bowl commercial. You know?
Well, I mean, it's like even like the records of like take baseball, right? The records of like Babe Ruth and Roger Maris and all that. With the type of baseball that they used and the length of the field, if you put that in today,
Yeah.
nobody would have their records. The ball was so much further to hit and the field was so much bigger. So like I feel like that's always happening in like society as life goes on. Like we kind of get weaker. We think we get stronger, we get weaker.
But also you have the other side of it, which is like back then, if somebody ran to first base and came away hobbling, they'd be like, yeah, you probably hurt your knee. Like now you got a fucking doctor on site who's like, oh, that's a patella tendon. Like,
Right,
yeah.
get over here. And like you're recovering faster, things are better. So it's like,
Right.
are you better into older ages or are you like, the like massages and like the nutrition and like all the shit that they know now, it's like you're really at your peak. Like Babe Ruth was drinking beer in the dugout.
Oh yeah, in the dugout, and he was eating like he was drinking beer. He was eating like
Snickers.
5 hot dogs a day. Yeah, hungry
Yeah.
white white.
Aroldis Chapman threw 105 last night.
Yeah.
Right.
105.1, and he broke the record at like 105.7. Like,
Bryce Harper cost me so much money last night. I'm so fucking bummed about it.
Yeah.
Man.
So you still bet?
Oh, I love because
Yeah.
I mean
You
I
can't
don't-
give everything up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like to gamble on like if like when I was living in Vegas and girls would be like, come on, we're going to gamble and play blackjack. I'd be like, I don't. The casino wins. Like, look at the casino and look at everybody here loses whatever. We're
Look
like,
at me on the mega bus.
yeah. We're like with poker, you're playing against other people, so you actually win money. And then with sports, it's more something that's like a hobby where like I like sports gambling the same way that people like to watch like murder mysteries. Like I love putting all the pieces together and like the game's about to come on and being like, did I put the right pieces together? Like, is this going to be what I think it's going to be? And then you watch and like you put your money where your mouth is of like, did this happen or not? So,
Right.
So you
but,
like the research that goes into it.
I love like the whole ride here. I was just listening to like preseason sports, football, gambling, like NFL. I love listening to them like break it down and their reasoning behind it because I also think it helps like in life. Like I make sure to only listen to like the best like really legit guys. Like there's people who watch people on TikTok who are like, I just put in a 12-game parlay.
Right.
Like that's nonsense. Like it's so insane. But like I listen to guys like Steve Fezzik who like won the World Series of the World Series of like football betting twice, the only guy to ever do it. And he just talks about like how he thinks about stuff and approaches it in this way. And you're like, man, this is like, you know, it's like if you're into chess, listening to like the most brilliant people talk about, like when you're listening to these guys, you're like, wow, I never would have thought that. Like he gives bets every year where he's like, he can't say like this is going to win, but he's like, this is going to win. Like it's like, look at the weather here. And he's like, it's the longest field goal is like over 47 yards. And he's like, it's a blizzard. Like, it's not going to happen. But like, you know, you might have to lay $250 to win or whatever these bets are. Like, it's not the attractive. He's never done like, if you lay $100, you'll win 10 grand. Like it's always like, no. And he always says like, when I give bets, they're 56%, 57%, maybe this, but he talks about these bets that he gives sometimes where like, I've been tracking him for years and you're like, this shit never loses. Like when he's like, you know, like the field goal example is like a great thing where it's like, will the longest field goal be over 47 yards? And you're like, it's New England in January.
Yeah, it
like,
can't happen.
you can't even walk to the car.
So do you play poker on like a nightly basis?
No, I go through like, that's what I like about poker is like I go through phases where it's like, okay, like, yeah, I played poker every night for 5 nights in a row. And then like, because I've been here for a while, I haven't played poker in like 2 months.
Do you get rusty at it? Like he's a big poker player.
I used to
Mike.
play for a living in college,
wow.
in like the underground clubs in the city and stuff.
We had to bump into each other. How long ago?
In 03. It was
Oh
actually
my
between
God.
03 to 05 when I was playing basketball.
Wait,
in
did you go to
community
Ace
college.
Point in the city?
Yeah, I've been there. Yeah,
I was at Ace Point like
no shit.
Yeah,
I used to go on
yeah.
Houston Street a lot. This guy, whatever, we could get into it. But one place that I was at the night after got robbed with machine guns.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
A-Rod and Phil Hellmuth were sitting at the table or something like, you know.
Oh, I think when I think did an article come out
Yes,
about that?
yeah,
I think
yeah.
I was in that article.
No
about
kidding.
like I think I was there like the night before. So
That's crazy.
I was
See if we can find it.
I was so drunk, like an idiot, that one time I went to Ace Point and there was a cop outside and he recognized me. He saw me. He was like, "Get out of here!" And he like kind of let me know. Where like you don't get in trouble if you're up there anyway. But then I went to a bar and kept drinking, and like 2 hours later was like, I feel like playing poker, and like walked in, got in the elevator, got to the top, and the elevator opened, and there were cops in there, including him. And he was like, "What are you doing here?" he was like, "I told you to get out of here." And I was like, "I was gonna play poker." Like, and they were like, "No." And I remember like, you could never smoke in there, but because like the cops were there and everything, like I said to a police officer, I was like, "I smoke a cigarette?" And he was like, "Yeah." And the owner of the place was like right sitting over there, and I just like loved the fact that I was like smoking a cigarette because I lost like and I was like, I'm just like hanging out on this like beautiful table smoking a cigarette. But yeah, like I was going to those places every night back then.
Me too.
Like,
Dude, did you get
nonstop.
good at math because of gambling, or were you good at it
No,
before?
so math was the only thing I was ever good at. Where now, like, I suck because my fucking ADHD from my phone is fucking through the roof. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, an illegal Manhattan poker den, once frequented by Alex Rodriguez, Sopranos star Robert Iler, and several NBA players, was robbed by gun-toting bandits.
Yeah, a couple nights before, I don't know if it was the night before, my memory makes it the night before, but I was at that place, and they had guys casing it a bunch, and I walked out one night with like a pretty thick pocket, and some guy was like, "So you win tonight?" Like as I exited, and I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh shit!" And I was like, "No, I lost my shirt," and he just believed me,
Right.
and then just stayed there. But I remember being like, "I'm not going back to that spot for a while," and then pretty soon after that happened.
Also,
Wow.
you said my last name like you said. People must say your last name this way.
I know. I
Fuck.
realize
Oh
it.
man.
Now I can't say
this
it.
is your Achilles. It's
Now-
this and the Achilles that are going to haunt you
Now-
forever.
I nailed it the first time, and now it just gets Robert Liller.
yeah.
Were you ever in any of the Molly's games?
No, that was always too big for me. I mean, those guys were playing hundreds of thousands of and I had played with some of those guys and been around that. And I actually used to play, I can't say too much, but I used to play in games that were smaller that then became those kind of games. But when I was playing them, they were smaller. And a guy would be like, hey, we're hanging out in our office playing if you want to come by and this. And these were, kind of famous people or whatever. And then 4 years later, you'd be like, oh, do you still have a game? And he's like, yeah, it's $1 million again. And you're
What
like,
was the biggest limit you were playing?
I mean, when I would go to the World Series, I would play, but I was usually just playing whatever the $1,000 buy-in
Yeah.
was. So I would play 5-10 if that was the $1,000, or I would play 2-5. But even when I was 18, 19, I was so excited to play poker. I'd play for $200.
Yeah,
I would play
same.
1-2 and not give a shit because I just loved being there and I never studied in this. But now I'm at the point where I can't waste hours of my life playing
Same.
1-2.
Our
you know
home
what I
game
mean?
turned into one of those things where we got on these poker forums and it became so popular that kids from out of town were coming, and then there were just tens of thousands of dollars on the table in the back room of my friend's parents' house.
Yeah.
And it became cops would sometimes kind of come by, but it just became so hot that we were like, we can't, this is nuts, dude.
Did you play on set?
We played a few times with people from Sopranos, but not a lot. It was more of a...
Is it illegal to play poker in New York? I don't know anything about the poker game, poker world.
So I think there's
Isn't gambling legal now here?
Laws are weird where it's it's not illegal if we were playing poker right here, but it's illegal to take money out of the pot to
rake.
benefit yourself. Or then there's areas where it gets into being organized crime. If you're setting things up, and again, I could probably sound like an idiot right now because I don't understand but I know if we're just sitting around right here taking money from each other playing poker, it's not illegal. And we could hire a waitress and a dealer and this, but then if you even took $10 off the table, I think it's the same as you taking anything.
Really? So so that's how these games. So there's a way though to have these legal poker nights in New York.
I mean, we have to go,
yeah.
we're trying to do a poker tournament at Skankfest this year. Ari and I are trying to set it up,
Yeah.
but it's tough because of the gambling commission, and actually there's so many different rules that it either has to be for charity or you have to give a certain amount to the casino or whatever.
Did you try talking to Poker Go about it?
I think we're in
That's
talks
awesome.
now.
what if
Yeah, that's
what if
fair.
the charity was called MikeCannonComedy.com?
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of.
Why'd you pull up Chaz Palminteri?
It was an accident.
Oh, that's funny. That's just an
An
accident.
accidental Chaz pull.
Chazzy, baby. One time it made me think of when you were saying to light a cigarette. I literally, it's one of these memories. You ever have a memory that it just pops in and you're like, that was a crazy thing that I heard, but it was just it's just buried in your head. So I think it was 10 years ago, we used to always go at this place called the Laugh Lounge. Mike and I, and it was an old school comedy club. It was great in the Lower East Side. And I'm walking in the Lower East Side to go do an open mic at the Laugh Lounge. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I see a guy sitting in a police car, handcuffed, he's fully handcuffed, sitting outside, and the police are talking to him, whatever. And then they put a cigarette in his mouth, and they light a cigarette up for him. He's smoking a cigarette, but with his hand. And I was like, oh, wow, it's pretty nice. There's just, and the guy's just smoking. And then I just asked, I never done this. I just asked, I was like, what did he do? And then he goes, oh, he killed his wife. She's upstairs in there. And I was like, wow. And now I just watched this guy who's just I'm smoking a cigarette. The cops gave it to me. And I don't know why you telling me that you smoked a cigarette is always just I thought about that guy.
I mean, that is, that's the most post-sex cigarette you could possibly
Yeah.
need to calm down.
Who knows what that guy was into,
All right, baby. You got anything to plug? The pod? What are we doing?
No, yeah, what I do. Apparently, we do a pod for the same network somehow.
That's it, baby.
Yeah, no, I do a podcast, Not Today, Pal, with the wonderful person who played my sister on Sopranos, Jamie Lynn.
Who was the real hero of that Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah. Oh, it was
Yes.
100%. Yeah, I was just there. I was like, "Do you need anything?" Yeah. No, that's it. I got nothing else. Thanks for having me. I love hanging out. Love the hangs. I got to being in this podcast world. You get to do these hangs. It's
Yeah.
always great. So like I hate acting. I love doing podcasts.
Right.
Like I love just like you know when the beginning is, you know when the end is gonna be, you know it's like that we're hanging here. It's like we're acting. It's like, yeah, just come at 8 a.m. and like maybe we'll have you out.
Yeah.
And like maybe you'll work. Like
Yeah.
you just sit around all day at their fucking we're like here, it's like 90 minutes, an hour,
In
whatever,
and
you
out.
hang and you just fucking it's always fun.
Are you ready for the 120-minute car ride back to your hotel?
Yeah, right.
Hell yeah, dude.
Can you put this podcast out right now so I could listen to it and it'll be almost over when I get home? Yeah.
John, what do you want? You want him to sign your tits?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
A girl asked me to sign her tits once when I was like 16 years old at a teen club night, and she gave me a pen.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
Ooh,
so
signing with a pen's got to hurt too.
It was so weird because like then the pen didn't work, and I was like, and like you're trying to get that first, and then like you finally got the first line down, but there was like she was like
Raking it on
yeah,
her
I was like,
tits.
this
Yeah,
is
you
so.
just inadvertently just made a swastika on her tits.
Where was the teen club?
It was something in Lodi, New Jersey. I don't know the name, but it was
Is that Lizard Lounge?
I feel like I used to hear
No.
ads for that on
'Cause
Z100.
There was a teen club in Astoria called The Cave.
Oh,
and
I
it's-
went there.
and it's now it's a gym now.
Yeah, I remember going to the cave. I remember it being teen night. I was 29, but I remember. No, I'm kidding. But I do remember the cave, and there was Metropolis. There was another
And
Astoria
then there was
one.
a foam
arena.
Club. There was a foam club in the West Side in New York.
See, this was a club that like they had a teen night.
That's
you know
what
what I
most
mean?
of them were,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was in Lodi, New Jersey. I wish I could remember the name, but man, it was. Yeah.
Nuts.
It was wild.
Yeah. All right, Mikey.
Yeah, get my dates, MikeCannonComedy.com. I'll be all over the place. And September 15th, I'm coming out with my special on YouTube.com/ChrisDComedy right here, produced by Chris Distefano. Check that out. Very pumped for it. And yeah, Chicago, Detroit, Nashville, Vegas, New York, all over MikeCannonComedy.com.
And I got new dates, ChrisDComedy.com. Check them out. They're all listed right there.
And merch, right?
Oh, and merch, ChrisDComedy.com. Buy the merch or don't. I really hate merch.
Good job on the merch, John.
Thank you. I mean, no.
It's flying off the shelf.
John's merch is great. No, John is a talented artist. I just hate, But I am contemplating doing meet and greets again.
I made our first piece of merch, and I thought it was going to do really well. It didn't do well. I was like, all right, we're not
I
going to do
think just
merch.
people just don't have money and in
Yeah.
this economy. They
I
just
did a
people
hat,
are
and I was like, I think because I never asked people to like
Yeah.
buy anything, and I'm like, there's a lot of people. And I was like, maybe people will like this, and then like, yeah, I don't know.
Are you gonna do a no fucking ZD shirt?
That's what I should. I should bring that back.
Yeah.
Bring
That's
it back.
the
It's
meme of all
everywhere
memes.
still.
Yeah, I know.
You ever rip a bump and say no fucking ZD?
No. I say that's a spicy meatball.
Do you even
a bump.
remember doing that line? Like
No.
that's just like,
I think I kind of. It's one of those stories where, like, because you've heard the story so much, are you like, am I remembering the story or people telling me the
Right.
story or what? But like, I feel like I remember, but I don't. But I know that like that's what got me the audition. So I know
Right.
it wasn't like I just said it 4 times. Like I was
Right.
fucking every time I auditioned, it was like you're saying it again, you're saying it again.
right.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
that's
I got
crazy.
the audition with. Yeah, so they had you do like what I didn't have that many scenes in the pilot, so you just had to. And the reason I got it was because David Chase laughed every time, and he was just every time you just heard like the laugh and the laugh, and I don't think that's David
Right.
Chase. Like I don't think he was giving people
Like,
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what's good to know? If you guys like Sopranos, we came here for the 25th anniversary of Sopranos, and they were gonna have us watch 2 episodes of Sopranos. And we were like, we don't want to watch 2 episodes of Sopranos. So they were like, is there somebody over here?
No.
are you guys
I was just looking out the window.
Both of you were giving the exact same look, like right over here. I was like,
No,
"What the hell?"
Vito has autism.
It's contagious because they were both.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the new.
Airborne autism.
Yeah. So
Got the vaccine.
yeah. So so we're like, yeah, we don't want to watch it. So they're like, okay, there's a David Chase documentary coming out from HBO, and they're like, you could watch that. And we're like, oh, that's better. And then they were like, oh, it's 2 hours and 45 minutes when we got
Oh,
there, and we
God.
were like, we're in a theater, like dressed up, and we're like, oh my god, we're gonna have to sit here for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm not a Sopranos fan. It was so good. And like the best part is they show auditions. So they show like Stevie Van Zandt auditioning for Tony Soprano and like other guys auditioning for these other roles that like they didn't get. And then like them, like I think Tony Sirico like is auditioning for Tony Soprano, maybe, I don't know. But he like in the middle of his audition, he's like, that was terrible. Like I'm like, and he like walks out. So it's like, it's sick because you get to see this behind
That's
the scenes
awesome.
shit that like
That's
we
awesome.
never even
And
saw.
Michael
yeah.
Rispoli got close, right? The guy
Yeah,
that played
yeah,
John.
His audition is in there. Yeah,
Oh,
they
that's
have.
awesome.
I think they have like Drea de Mateo's and maybe
Wow.
Imperioli, and then you see. I forget. I think you see Jim, but like they talk about it, and they're like, once Jim came in, it was like, oh,
This is it.
this is like he's Tony.
I got a Sopranos question for you. It's just like when you saw the script for the finale and the final scene, did you like, as an outside person, like, did you know how people were going to react?
I didn't know. I'm more so because again, I still can't tell you how people reacted because there's people I meet who are like, it was the fucking best. I loved it. And
Well,
there's
my
people who are
mom
like,
beat
I
the shit
fucking
out of me
hated
because
it.
she thought I turned the TV off.
Right? Yeah, there was a lot of that. I didn't know how people reacted. What I did know was it was the right choice because David made it, and I'm 22, and I'm like, this guy knows more than I'll ever know, and still does. So like, whatever he decided, it's like you with Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Whatever decision that you
Yes.
make is, and when he did that, I was like, oh, this is the right decision, and it's good. And again, it's like. It's been 20 years and like how you just asked me, like every day someone's like the ending and like all the like when people ask me about Sopranos, it's all the same questions, but with the ending, like they're always asking different shit still. And like, there's still people talking about it in different ways. So it's like, to me, it's like, of course he made the right.
That's perfect. Yeah, it's actually it's one of the more ballsy artistic decisions of any show ever.
Right.
Like
Probably
just
the
to
most
take a show
referenced
that
at
is
this point now too.
it's a perfect game. The
Yeah.
show is a perfect game, and then you have to land it. But to do that, to take such a big risk like that, and to end it in that vision, like that's balls.
And
man.
I also think it left it open for him. If 5 years, like, Sex and the City, Entourage, they've all done movies. So it's like, would we have done a movie? I don't know. Obviously, Jim passing away makes it like, no, we're not. But like, if Jim hadn't passed away, I don't know if there wouldn't.
There might have been a movie.
But again, he could have come back and been like, yeah, we'll do a movie. Or he could say, we're not doing it. Like, it leaves it open instead of being like, no, it's done.
What was the finale after party like? Like, do you remember like the rap party? Was it nuts?
No, because we all like all of our parties were nuts, but like we never had one for that because everybody has a different last day. And then even when we had the premiere and it was like the last time, it was like, all right, I'll see you in a month at the Emmys, and then I'll see you at the Golden Globes or the SAG Award or this. So it's like, and we were all so close that there was never a thing of like, this is it, guys, like we're done. And we were all like New Yorkers, like you're walking in this, like you don't feel that thing of
Right.
like this is over. But then, dude, yeah, our part. I mean, we would.
Go hard.
Yeah, it was
Wow.
just it was good, They knew how to party. They didn't.
Where
fuck
would you have the
around.
parties? Do you remember like the
Wherever
location?
we were, like it's weird because like you would go to like the Emmy Awards, and again, this is just me. I'm not singling anybody out, but you'd be like, oh, like there's Matt LeBlanc and there's Jennifer Aniston, and where with us it was like, oh, there's The Sopranos, and like we'd all stay in the same hotel. We'd all like as soon as we got to an after party, we'd be like, all right, pull some tables over, and we'd all get in the corner and say like it was a New York.
And
like,
everybody
this-
wanted to come to all those Hollywood types. Like they love the show. The biggest celebs would come
Not
up
only
to
did
you.
they love the show, but like we were never around. Like we wouldn't be in LA all year, and then it would be like, all right. And so it's like these people would be like, okay, we never get to see them, and now there's 40 of them. And we'd all be like sitting in the corner, like our ties undone, like fucking
Yeah.
smoking, drinking it, and these people would be like, oh my god, this because there were people in there who were like mobsters, and like
Sure.
then you're sitting around at like in the corner
cool.
of a dark restaurant smoking and drinking, and they're like, these guys are like, we
legit.
weren't like, this is,
Hardcore.
it wasn't like, this is my publicist, and this
Yeah.
is that, like, there
No.
was none of that shit.
Yeah.
It was all just
That's
like,
awesome.
That's
like
awesome.
Tony Sirico would be like, yeah, this is Billy the Hat. Like,
Yeah.
like you meet these people and you're like, oh, okay. like,
sick.
yeah.
It's like it was almost like a reality show in a way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and we loved it because it was like, oh, we're all like, we would be, and it's funny too because like, most of us weren't used to nice things, and then they would put us, like HBO would put us at the nicest hotel in LA.
Right.
And we would be on like the roof in the pool in like white t-shirts, you know what I mean? And just like, and people would be like, oh, I forgot to bring socks and like that. But we would be ordering like $75 cheeseburgers because that's what was up there, and HBO was like, no, we're paying for everything.
Yeah.
And it was fucking
sick. That's
wild,
amazing.
dude. Yeah.
That's dope. Well, what can you do? Dancing with the Stars, come to my rap party. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it at Kip's
Yeah.
Deli in Queens. Catered. Joe DeRosa's sandwiches catered. All right, boys, we gotta go, right?
You're just trying to make this go long so you don't have to get in trouble.
I know.